Alright, I just want to show you what I'm working on tonight in the oil mill. Got the press running, pressing slack. This is my Neo oil coming out. The filter is also running, filtering oil into this tank. But what I'm working on now is I'm going to set up automatic auger system to keep this hopper filled without having to fill this with pails all the time, which really is annoying to have to fill this hopper like every 2 hours all day long. So I'm gonna set up an auger to auger out of this barrel up into the hopper. And so today I picked up this proximity sensor, which I'm going to mount into this hopper. And this sensor senses, obviously, when it's got grain on it. It also has a timer delay so that I can set it to once the sensor stops sensing grain, I can let it run for another 10 or 20 minutes just so the hopper gets down a bit before it runs to fill it back up again. So I'm going to be working on, tomorrow I'm going to be working on getting this barrel set up on a stand. And then I've got the auger as well. It's an old 4-inch auger. And I've got the sensor. I am just waiting for a new electric motor to mount on the auger. So that's what I'm working on. I do about 400 liters in a batch, so I've got a ways to go. This has been running for about a day. Well, I had it running slow because I was busy today, so I slowed it way down because I wasn't able to come back every 2 hours to fill the hopper up. So that's why I want to get the auger set up. So hopefully this sensor works. And yeah, I'll be working on that some more tomorrow. All right, I'm working on getting this auger set up still. You can see, so this is the hopper off the top of the press, which should be up there. That's where the auger will dump into the hopper that'll sit on top of there. This auger is a decent length. I mean, by the time that auger is up, you know, another close to foot higher over top of the hopper, I think it'll be a pretty nice length from the bottom of this barrel here. So this is just the super simple chute that I welded up. This is an old like bearing flange, and I just welded this steel tube onto there, and it already had the holes from the bearing flange, so I just drilled some holes through the barrel and mounted it on there. So that'll go into the auger up to the top of the hopper, and I just today picked up the motor. This is a Vevor 3/4 horse motor, CSA approved. This was a good deal from Vevor. They're supposed to be pretty good. They're, yeah, definitely the best price you can find. I've had a few different Vevor pieces of equipment, and I've definitely been pretty happy with them. So it'll be a pretty simple job to mount that motor onto here. I mean, this has mounts for a motor. It just has this kind of U-clamp that holds it. So this one is bolted down pretty well. This one on the back is going to be a little loose, I guess, but I'll have to see if I can find something, because that's kind of a specialty U-bolt. So maybe I'll find something that'll make that work. And these old mounts will come off. And then I'll just get a short belt. I've got a short V-belt, but I'm not sure if that's going to work for this motor. It has to be kind of the exact right length because it's not really that easy to adjust it. Unless I like put some washers or something between the motor mounts to kind of lift it up another little bit. And these are my bags full of flax meal that's like piling up in here because I don't really have anywhere to put it. And my neighbor that raises cattle said he would take some, but it's he doesn't want it right now, so hopefully he'll take it sometime soon. So yeah, this should work pretty well. I'm excited to get this set up. I've got to wire it through the proximity sensor. So these are kind of the pieces of the puzzle. Motor, sensor. This is kind of the sensor switch all in one because this has a sensor, or I mean this is a sensor, but it has the switch built into it, like the relay is already built into it. So it's kind of a plug and play unit. So I've got all the pieces. I just got to mount that sensor in this hopper and then wire it to the motor and put a plug on it and plug it in, and it should work. So I've got to drill a hole in this, which is kind of what I've been trying to figure out where I want the sensor mounted. I think, you know, if I put it kind of just above this grate, that should be a good level, because I don't want it too high because the auger is just going to be sitting kind of right above the top of here. And if it's too high, the grain won't get up to it before the auger like plugs. So I think if I put it in kind of right above the grate, that should be a good level. Then with the auger sitting just above, I mean, the end of the auger will probably be, you know, almost below the level of the top of the hopper, but it should cover it before the auger plugs. So that should work good. All right, I've wired this up and I don't know if it's gonna work. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It works. Oh, look at that. Shuts off. Wow. All right, now we got a time delay. I think it might be set for like a minute. Wow, I was not sure if that was gonna work. I've tried this a couple times now, so that's a surprise that it works. I am apparently capable of reading wiring diagrams. Look at that. Turns green, motor starts up, auger is filling the hopper, and it's slow. The grain is coming up in the hopper, and then the grain covers the sensor and it shuts off. Wow. That's pretty amazing. All right, so my motor is all hooked up to my proximity sensor now. I'll show you how it works when I plug it in. Since the sensor isn't covered now, when I plug it in, the motor starts right up. And then as soon as you cover the sensor, the motor shuts off. And then once the sensor gets uncovered again, the time delay starts, and it's set for like a minute right now, but there's these little buttons on here to adjust it. So yeah, it's pretty simple. It's all the wires are connected inside of this circuit, this box, so everything's kind of sealed up already. So how it works is, so this is the sensor has 5 wires. So you've got your hot wire. There, it starts up again. I'm just gonna keep going unless I shut it off. So I'll unplug it now. So the sensor has 5 wires. I only used 4 of them. So how it works is you've got the hot wire coming in, and then it splits off the hot wire coming into 2 circuits. So the first circuit is really simple. It just goes from the hot wire to the sensor for the sensor power, and then back to the ground. And then the other one goes from, well, it goes from the hot wire into the motor, but then the neutral wire from that goes into the lead from the relay that's in the sensor. And then so there's actually 3 leads from the relay. I only use 2 of them because the other one is for, you can have this either, like it says, you can either have it stop the motor by activating the sensor, which is what I want. That's what it's set for now. Once the sensor is activated, the motor stops. Or you can have it start the motor by activating the sensor. So you could set it, if you use the other wire, once the sensor is covered, it would start the motor for some other application. But anyways, so it goes from the neutral wire on the motor, goes through this relay, and then back to the neutral for the like back to the plug to complete the circuit. So that relay controls the second circuit that controls the motor. So that's all there is to it, and everything's kind of nice and wired up. Although I had a heck of a time trying to get that cover out of there. I don't know why it was so difficult. It was like I've you know, taken those out of like circuit boxes before, but that was pretty difficult, so it doesn't look very pretty. So now I can just mount this onto the auger, and the next part is I have to mount the sensor into the hopper. So I'm a little bit nervous to drill a big hole in my my hopper, because it's, you know, a nice hopper, and I'm gonna drill a hole inside of it. But I've measured out a reasonable spot for it to be like located at. Obviously it's going to be right in the front side here, but I figured that was kind of the best spot, because the front and the back are not good. The back is kind of all along here, is close to the press once it's mounted on top there, and the front just seemed too you know, too vulnerable, I guess, because there's also the front of the press comes out there. So it was either this side or the other side, and I figured, well, this side will be more protected. The other side, it could end up getting bumped into the wall or something and breaking it, which wouldn't be good. So I'm going to just drill this hole. I've got this hole saw, which hopefully works on this sheet metal, and if it's kind of a nasty hole, I can clean it up with the Dremel, I guess, die grinder. And then I also have to drill a couple little holes to mount this on there, and then the sensor just threads into there, and then that's all good. And then I just need to mount the motor on the auger, which should be really simple, and then this setup should be good to go. And I might get it set up tonight, hopefully. I don't know if I'll get the press running tonight, but that would be good, because I need to make some more oil. So yeah, I'm just really happy right now that my whole motor setup and sensor is working. Okay, so the hopper is back on the press with the proximity sensor mounted in there, and the auger is now mounted onto the side of the hopper, and the motor is mounted on the auger, except for I don't have a V-belt. The old one off of here was too short to work with this new motor. But yeah, this is pretty much ready to go. I just need to get a new belt for that now. This is all kind of getting a little bit cluttered, as you can see. I don't know how this is gonna work. Like I have the meal is constantly coming out of the end. I usually have a barrel sitting back here that I have to empty out, and the oil is coming into here, into this mixing tank. And now I've got this auger set up in the middle of the way here to go to this barrel. So it's all kind of cluttered, but hopefully it works for a short period of time. I can plug this in and the motor will start up right away. So yeah, motor is running obviously. I really wish I had a belt to run the auger, but this auger turns pretty freely. And so if I cover the sensor, it'll shut off for a minute. The end of this auger is a little bit higher than I was planning, so I'm thinking I'll just get a short piece of pipe to go from the end of here kind of down to just kind of above the height of the hopper, just so that it really shouldn't matter, because as soon as it covers the sensor it should shut off, but I want to make sure that you know, I don't want to have seeds kind of flying. I mean, they should all go down, but it just makes it a little bit nicer if I have the end of the auger kind of down here a little bit lower. So yeah, this is all gone together really well. I'm definitely happy with it. Hopefully, I'm planning to get this set up and running tomorrow, so I'll have to go pick up a new V-belt in the morning and then it'll be good to go. Yeah, it's really cool. I just think it's, this little sensor is just the niftiest thing. You know, when I was originally thinking about how I was going to set this up, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to need like a controller and a relay and all these individual components. But this sensor, you know, it's like an all-in-one, just kind of plug and play system. Just wire it into the motor and it's good to go. So that was really handy, definitely, to find that. I got this from like a supply store for poultry barns, mainly is their main business, I think. So in a poultry barn, like a chicken barn or whatever, these sensors are used really commonly to control like feed lines for a hopper. You know, exact same situation as this. There's an auger augering in feed, and these sensors kind of just control the motors for all the feed lines. So that was easy to pick one of those up. Didn't have to make a special order or anything. I just went in there and they had a whole bunch of them there, and the people there helped me out. I obviously told them I don't have a large poultry operation. I'm just looking for a sensor to control my little hopper on my oil press. But yeah, they were definitely helpful, so that was great. This thing kind of covers up my sticker, which is a bummer, but I'm still thinking that maybe I should mount this to a joist up above it. Just it's pretty heavy on, you know, sitting on my hopper here, so I don't know. It'd probably be better if it was mounted up above, although this mount worked really well, actually. I mean, this is the original idea behind this mount, is for mounting this to the side of your grain truck box. Like this old auger was used as a drill fill, they called it. So you would have this auger mounted inside of the truck box, and it would go over the edge, and there used to be a long kind of down spout on the end of it that you would use to fill up your drill boxes. So yeah, it worked really well for that. to mount it onto the side of the hopper. So everything here looks good. It's good to go. Ready to get it set up and running tomorrow. So that's one more automatic system down. I mean, I would really like to have an automatic system for carrying this meal out, because I'm constantly having to scoop all this meal out and fill these bags over here are full of meal. That's what all that is. So I'm constantly like scooping more out and carrying it over there. But this is definitely an improvement. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so this auger is finally ready for the first test. I've got this hopper filled up with flax. The chute just fills up, and that keeps the hopper full at a nice level. And then, so I had to get the press running first. You always start the press before you fill the hopper, because you just kind of put a few handfuls in at first to kind of get it going. And then once it's running, then you can fill the hopper right full. So I'm ready to fill the hopper. I've got this little coffee container set up. I'm gonna catch the first little bit that goes through the auger, just because I ran the auger empty quite a bit to get, you know, all the, I don't know, it's just dirt and leaves and old, you know, material that was in there, because this was sitting outside for such a long time. But I haven't ran any actual material through it, so I think it's possible there could be some things that are caught up somewhere that might come out with the first little bit of grain that goes through it. So I'm gonna just catch that first little bit before I let it run to fill up. The sensor's mounted there. That's gonna automatically control the auger motor. So I'll run it and just catch that first little bit, and then I'll shut it off again for the first go through it. So I'll just plug this in. Alright, there we go. I gotta be ready to unplug this. That didn't take long. I definitely slowed the auger down more than I was expecting. Just throw this in a pail. It looks really good, actually. I don't think there's anything that came out. There's a little, I mean, nothing significant that would have caused a problem, really. Yeah, I think we should be good. This hopper on the press actually has a magnet mounted in it to catch any type of metal pieces that could end up in the grain. Got the magnet mounted right there in the middle. So it actually took a fair bit of flax just to get the auger full. Obviously, I knew it would probably take, you know, it's a fairly long auger. This isn't really a cone bottom tank, so it holds up a bit, but I can empty that into the hopper below there. I'm gonna have to go get more. Well, I guess I have a few more pails of flax here, obviously, so I can dump those in there. But yeah, so now I'm gonna do a second run and actually fill the hopper and see if the shutoff sensor is going to work as I hope it is. I hope it will. Okay, so I'm ready now to give it a try and fill the hopper and test the sensor. I'm hoping that this spout on the auger isn't too high. It's kind of 2 inches above the top of the hopper level. So hopefully that's not too high. I was kind of thinking I might put an extension on that to drop it down a few more inches. Probably work better. But we'll give it a try and see how it goes. So I'll plug it in here. Alright, so it's running. Definitely slowing down the auger. The belt's just slipping. The motor is running fine, but my belt's slipping. I have to tighten that up. Yeah, I'm gonna tighten that up. Alright, so I tightened this belt up. I don't know, I guess I just forgot to do that because it was super loose. Give this another try. I was a bit worried there that the motor was not handling it, but yeah, it was obviously the belt, so. Plug this in again. Alright. Oh yeah. I'm slowing down a bit. Oh, shut off. Yeah. There we go. That's all there is to it. Definitely does not fill the hopper very close to the top, which is fine as long as it keeps filling it continuously. I forgot. I think this timer on the sensor is set for like 8 minutes or something. So I've definitely watched that cycle for a while. Now, the timer's not even running yet because the hopper's still full. But there it is. That grain on the sensor there. Shut it off. And now I'll just watch this for a while and see what happens. I can speed the press up a little bit. It's still running fairly slow. I only turn it up by a few RPM at a time. Right now it's at 20, probably like 24 RPM. I usually run it up to about 40. It's running full speed, so that's 34. Just a fairly small machine, but if you keep it running 24/7, it makes quite a few liters in a day. The problem is, well, the reason why I really wanted to get this set up is because with a small hopper, I mean, you have to fill it. If you run it at full speed, you have to fill this hopper probably every hour. When I had that kind of extension on the top, I was filling it every 2 hours. But and even every 2 hours, I would end up slowing this way down at night so that I could go to sleep. So I would turn down to like, I don't know, probably down to the 11 RPM mark. And so then I would go to sleep for 6 hours. But that obviously slowed things down a lot. But getting this thing started is a bit of a project every time because you need to, it just takes a bit of work just to get it, flowing properly at the start. When it has a heater to warm it up, but even then, it just takes a bit of work to get that back pressure right in there without plugging it, or else it just takes some work. It takes some work to get it going, so that's why I never want to shut it off. It's better to slow it down to 10 RPM and just let it run really slow versus shutting it off. The timer is still not on yet, so it's probably been, been close to 3 minutes already, and the timer's still not running, so while to get it down off the sensor. We'll see how that goes, I guess. I'll just keep watching this for a while. Alright, so the timer just started going. It probably took, well, it took well over 5. It probably took, I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes just for the grain to get down off the sensor. So it's set for another 8 minutes before it fills up again, and we'll see how low the hopper gets before it switches back on. There's adjustments on this sensor as well for the sensitivity. It seems to be at a good level. I haven't adjusted the sensitivity at all, so I'm just gonna leave it. Yeah, it took, you know, there was just a couple kernels of flax still on the bottom. Oh, I want to touch the sensor and reset it. That would mess things up. But yeah, it took until the last few seeds kind of fell off the bottom of the sensor there until it finally started sensing. Alright, this should be starting any second. Obviously there's still lots of grain left on the hopper. Unless I accidentally touched it and reset the timer when I was looking around in there, which it seems as though I may have done, since it should be running. So yeah, obviously 8 minutes looks fine. You could probably set it for less, just to kind of keep it full. I mean, you know, it took 8 minutes for the timer to start, and then another 8 minutes, so that's 16 minutes. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable interval. And just to be safe, this could probably keep it a little bit fuller. But yeah, it's supposed to be running. Probably turn the timer down a little bit. You know, this is usually about as fast as I run the press, but I could possibly, you know, run it faster. It could just flow faster for who knows what reason. I mean, these things can vary a bit, so probably turn that down a bit. Yeah, let's begin. Alright, so I adjusted the time delay down to 5 minutes, which now I think looks like a really nice level. I mean, it takes over 5 minutes for it to get off the sensor, and then another 5 minutes of run time. Gets it down a little bit lower. It should be coming on here any second. There you go. Just like that. What was that, like 2 or 3 seconds? Was it even? You know, like it's definitely doesn't take long to fill it back up again. So that's a nice setup. I'm really happy with it. You just gotta remember that could come on at any time, so you gotta keep your hands away from that. You probably have a guard on it, obviously. That'll keep everything running really nice now. I can fill this barrel right up, and I mean, that'll run for several hours. Probably, I mean, yeah, this should run for almost 24 hours with a full barrel. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be really nice. Awesome.